My name is Tara Aldridge, 29 years old. I never thought I would uncover a family secret that could change my life forever. When my parents-in-law suddenly announced they were going on vacation to Hawaii, they left their granddaughter 8-year-old Lily in my care. According to them, Lily couldn't speak and was bedridden. I agreed to watch her, though not exactly willingly. They said Lily had been born with a special disability, unable to speak or move and needed round-the-clock care. But I didn't expect that the moment they left, my entire life would change. Before I continue this strange story, let me know in the comments where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe to find out what happened when my in-laws came back. I've always loved teaching. I'm an elementary school teacher who adores children and enjoys helping them learn. The classroom is where I'm happiest, it's where I feel respected. But every time I went to my in-laws' house, everything was different. Michael and I had been married for 3 years when this happened. He was kind, smart, and thoughtful, but he had one weakness: he hated conflict, especially with his family. I loved him, but his family was a whole other story. The Aldridges had been wealthy for generations. Robert Aldridge, my father-in-law, was a tough businessman who made his fortune in real estate and ran the family like a corporation. He was tall, stern, always impeccably dressed in a suit. One look from him could make anyone feel small. Eleanor Aldridge, my mother-in-law, was no less cold. The only things she cared about were appearances and reputation. She was always perfectly groomed, with flawless blonde hair and a face that never moved. She had a talent for saying something insulting that sounded like a compliment. For example, "Dear Tara, you're so brave for choosing that outfit. I could never be that casual at a formal dinner." And then there was Amanda, Michael's sister and Lily's mother. Amanda was 35, had never worked a day in her life, and lived entirely off the family's money. She had Lily at 20 with a man who disappeared before the baby was born. Amanda was beautiful, arrogant, and irresponsible. She treated her daughter more like a decorative object than a child. James, Michael's oldest brother, was a lawyer who obeyed their father without question. He barely ever spoke to me, as if I didn't exist. And Michael, my husband, was the youngest, always trying to keep the peace, but that meant he was constantly stuck in the middle. Many times, I felt like I had lost his support because of it. From the day I stepped into the Aldridge mansion, I felt like an outsider. I came from a middle-class background, worked at a public school, and they always looked down on me. They'd say my cooking was cute, my house too simple, and my teaching job noble but unrealistic. Every family gathering felt like a test of patience. For Michael's sake, I kept my mouth shut. Then there was Lily, Amanda's daughter. The whole family claimed she had a severe neurological condition, unable to talk or move. She needed 24/7 care, but Amanda hardly ever looked after her, relying entirely on nurses and maids. I had seen Lily a few times at family events, always sitting in her wheelchair, her eyes blank, unresponsive. But I always had a strange feeling when I looked into her eyes, as if she was awake, aware of everything. I thought I was imagining it. After all, I wasn't a doctor, and they said she had already been seen by the best specialists. Everything began 3 days before their trip. Eleanor, my mother-in-law, called. She didn't ask. She announced that I would be staying at their house to take care of Lily while they, including Amanda, went on vacation to Hawaii. "Dear Tara, we need you to look after Lily while we're away," she said in her commanding tone. I asked, "What about Lily's nurse?" "Oh, we had to let them go. Unreliable. And family should take care of family." Michael already agreed. Of course he did, without asking me. When I confronted him, he just looked at me pleadingly. "Babe, they really need us. It's just 2 weeks. We'll stay in the guest suite, it's practically its own apartment." I said, "What about my job? Next week is spring break. And for the week after, Mom said Dad can call the superintendent to get you a few extra days off. He donates to the school all the time." That's how the Aldridges did things. Rules didn't apply to them. One phone call and some money fixed everything. In the end, I agreed, not because I wanted to, but because if I refused, Michael would face the family's wrath. A day before the trip, we moved into their massive mansion. Amanda gave me a rushed set of instructions. "Lily has to take her medication 3 times a day. I've labeled everything. Don't miss a single dose, or there'll be trouble." "What kind of trouble?" I asked. Just listen to me. Give her the meds on time, she said, handing me a thick folder. Everything's in here: meal schedule, medication times, emergency contacts. But there's no need to call a doctor. That last sentence made me uneasy, but before I could ask, Robert cut in. Tara, you understand the gravity of this responsibility, don't you? We trust you to take care of our precious granddaughter. Don't let us down. The next morning, the house buzzed with activity. Luggage was loaded, everyone giving last-minute orders. No one, not even Amanda, said goodbye to Lily, who sat by the window, seemingly unaware of anything. As the car was about to pull away, Michael hugged me. I'm sorry, babe. Dad wants me to come along for some meetings in Honolulu. Will you be okay? I nodded, though my heart sank with frustration. I watched my husband leave with his family, leaving me alone with a child I barely knew, standing in the cold, echoing hallway of that enormous house. I looked at Lily and sighed. Guess it's just the two of us now. I didn't know how different those words would soon become. Once everyone was gone, I wheeled Lily into the grand living room and turned on a children's show, just as the folder instructed. I spoke softly, though I didn't expect an answer. I'm going to make dinner now, Lily. If you need anything, I'll be in the kitchen. It felt strange talking like that, but I couldn't bring myself to treat her like an object. According to the instructions, it was almost time for her evening medication, so I went to the kitchen to prepare her liquid food and pills. The Aldridge kitchen looked like something out of a cooking show, all stainless steel, marble countertops, and high-end appliances. I was cooking pasta for myself while blending a smoothie for Lily when I suddenly felt someone watching me. A chill ran down my spine. I turned around, expecting to see a maid who hadn't left yet. But what I saw made me nearly drop the wooden spoon. Lily was standing in the doorway. Not sitting in her wheelchair. She was standing unsteady, but upright, holding onto the doorframe. Lily. I stammered, unable to believe my eyes. Then she spoke, her voice small but clear, like any other 8-year-old's, just a bit hesitant. They want to take $4 million from me. Please, help me. I froze, gripping the counter for support. I thought I was hallucinating. The girl everyone believed couldn't speak or move was now walking into the kitchen, speaking in complete sentences. Lily. I whispered, barely breathing. You can talk and walk? She nodded. Those bright, deep eyes I'd always noticed were now filled with fear but also a glimmer of hope. Please, don't tell them I talked to you. If they find out, they'll hurt me again. I turned off the stove, approached her slowly, and knelt down in front of her, but I didn't touch her, afraid to scare her. Lily, I don't understand. Who wants to hurt you? And what's this about $4 million? Lily's small face tightened with worry. My mom, my grandparents, she said, her voice trembling. They pretend I'm sick so they can take my money when I turn 18. My head spun. A whole family faking a child's illness, it was horrifying. Come sit down, I said softly, pulling out a chair for her. Can you tell me more? For almost an hour while my sauce burned and the pasta went cold, Lily told me everything. Her grandparents, her late father's parents, had died in a car accident when she was only 3 years old. They left her a trust fund worth $4 million, locked until she turned 18, with Amanda, her mother, as the temporary guardian. After they died, Mom started giving me medicine, Lily said, tears rolling down her cheeks. Those pills made me sleepy and weak. If I refused to take them, she'd pinch me hard or lock me in the dark closet. I felt sick listening to how the little girl had been forced to fake her illness whenever people were around, threatened or hit if she spoke or moved. They even planned to have her declared legally incompetent when she turned 18 to seize all the money. How do you know about the money? I asked, still trying to grasp it. Lily smiled with quiet pride. I taught myself to read when no one was looking. Mom always left papers everywhere. I read them when she was gone. I have a notebook, I wrote everything down. She led me, still limping slightly, to her room. The space looked cold, like a hospital ward, and it broke my heart. From under her mattress, Lily pulled out a notebook and several folded papers she had secretly taken from her mother's office. The pages were filled with small, neat handwriting, proof she had truly taught herself to read and write. Inside were detailed notes about conversations about money, the types of pills her mother made her take, and threats to keep her silent. The other papers were copies of trust documents, bank statements, and worst of all, a draft of a legal declaration stating that Lily was incapacitated, giving them control of everything. I sat on the edge of the bed, surrounded by evidence. My emotions were a storm: anger, fear, heartbreak. "Why are you telling me this now?" I asked. "Why take the risk? Why take the risk?" Lily looked at me, eyes filled with tears. "Because you're kind to me. You talk to me like I'm normal. I've never been alone with anyone else before. The nurses all believe Mom." I thought, maybe you'd help me. Looking at this tiny but brave girl, who had endured years of abuse over money, I made a decision that would change everything. "I'll help you, Lily. I promise." The next morning, I woke up torn. Should I give her the medicine as instructed or trust her words? If she truly needed the medication and I didn't give it, I could harm her. But if what Lily said was true and my heart told me it was, then continuing the pills would make me an accomplice. I pretended to prepare the medication as usual but secretly poured it down the drain. Then I handed Lily her smoothie without the crushed pills inside, my heart pounding as I waited. By noon, the change was astonishing. Lily was alert, more coordinated, her voice clear and bright. She looked just like any normal 8-year-old, only she had never been allowed to live that way. "I feel better without the medicine," Lily said, her eyes sparkling. "My head doesn't spin anymore." Together, we began searching for more proof around the house. Lily knew the mansion like the back of her hand. Years of sitting in that wheelchair had made her observant. "Mom hides important papers in her office," Lily said. "The keys under the flower pot." Amanda's office matched her personality: fancy on the outside, empty on the inside. Expensive furniture, fashion magazines, business books still wrapped in plastic. I unlocked the filing cabinet with the key Lily showed me and found everything we needed. There were original trust documents from the Blackwells confirming the $4 million. There was also a legal letter verifying that Amanda was to manage the funds until Lily turned 18 or was declared incompetent. Worst of all was a thick medical file under Lily's name. Inside were fake medical reports, prescriptions for heavy sedatives and muscle relaxants enough to make any healthy child appear severely ill. "Look," Lily said, pointing to a paper I almost missed: the original birth certificate and early medical records. They showed that Lily had been perfectly healthy and developing normally until age 3, the exact time her grandparents died. After that, every report claimed she was progressively weakening. I shuddered when Lily led me back to her room and pointed to the ceiling corners, where small devices were attached. "Sometimes they watch me," she whispered, "to make sure I behave." I recognized them instantly: security cameras. This family was monitoring her like a prisoner. As we kept searching, Lily revealed even more horrifying details. Amanda pinched and twisted her arm whenever she tried to speak. Robert visited her room at night to threaten her. And Eleanor took her to charity events, parading her around as a special child to inspire pity and likely pocket the donations herself. "Grandma says I was born to make people feel sorry," Lily said sadly. "She says that's the only way I can help the family." Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Eleanor. I took a deep breath and forced my voice to sound pleasant. "Everything's fine, Mrs. Aldridge," I said, while Lily sat beside me, holding her breath in fear. "Remember, Tara," Eleanor said, "stability is the most important thing for Lily. Don't change her routine." "Of course, ma'am," I replied, my hand trembling with anger. After hanging up, we continued. Lily led me to Amanda's computer and whispered, "I know the password. Mom always uses her birthday." Inside, we found countless emails among family members discussing the trust money and complaining about keeping up the lie that Lily is sick. The worst was a formal plan to declare Lily legally incompetent when she turned 18. One email from Robert to Amanda made my stomach turn. "The trust revisions are going smoothly. Judge Wilson is sympathetic to our position. Once everything is finalized, even if the girl convinces someone she's fine, the money will still be ours. In the meantime, keep things as they are." We also found legal drafts showing recent attempts to amend the trust, though not yet approved by the court. The changes would allow Amanda to retain control of the money even if someone proved Lily was perfectly healthy. In Amanda's bedroom, behind an expensive painting, we found a hidden safe in the wall. Lily didn't know the code, but I tried a few dates. First, Amanda's birthday, nothing. Then Lily's birthday, the safe clicked open. Inside were bank documents, jewelry, and a USB drive. When we plugged it into Amanda's computer, what we found made my skin crawl. Medical videos showing Lily as a perfectly healthy child, running, laughing, talking. Clear proof she had been normal before her grandparents' deaths. By nightfall, we had enough evidence to expose the Aldridge family's entire scheme. But one question still haunted me: why go this far? $4 million was a lot, but they were already wealthy. There had to be another reason. The answer came when Lily showed me a hidden compartment in her wheelchair. Inside were papers she'd kept for years, including a letter from her grandfather, meant to be read when she turned 18. Amanda had mistakenly kept it with the inheritance papers after his death. The letter revealed a shocking truth: the $4 million were only the beginning. The Blackwell family had once invested in oil and sold their company for a massive fortune. Most of their wealth, nearly $50 million, was held in another trust, to be transferred to Lily when she turned 25, but only if she was legally competent and had full control over the first trust. The Aldridge family didn't just want the $4 million, they were after $50 million more. That night, I moved Lily into the guest room, the only place without cameras. And I knew one thing for sure: I would protect this child at all costs. She had endured years of torment for the sake of greed, and I was her only chance at freedom. "We're going to make things right, Lily," I said, stroking her hair. "You're not alone anymore." The next morning, we sat at the kitchen table, keeping away from the camera angles, and talked about what to do next. I needed to know exactly what Lily wanted. "If you could wish for anything," I asked, "what would it be?" Her answer was painfully simple: "I want to go to a real school. I want friends. I want to stop being scared every day." She hesitated, tracing her finger on the table before whispering, "And I want my mom to love me for real. Not just when people are watching." Her honest little voice almost made me cry. Despite everything, Lily still longed for her mother's love because deep down, she was just a child who wanted to be loved and safe. I knew I had to find real help. When I was sure Lily was safe in reading, she read incredibly well for someone self-taught. I went out to the garden and called my best friend, Lauren Bishop. Lauren was a child protection lawyer, my college friend, and the person I trusted most. I told her everything as clearly as I could, even though I knew it sounded unbelievable. "Oh my God, Tara," Lauren gasped when I finished. "If what you're saying is true, this is one of the cruelest cases of abuse and fraud I've ever heard of." "I have proof, Lauren. This little girl's been trapped inside her own body for 5 years just so her family could steal her inheritance." "You have to document everything," Lauren warned. "Take photos, copy files, record conversations if you can, but be careful. If they find out, they'll come after you. This family has money and connections." She promised to look into the legal side and prepare for action when the time came, but she also warned me, "Don't confront them until you're ready. These people are dangerous, Tara. If they suspect you're about to expose them, they won't hesitate to destroy you." After the call, I went back inside and found Lily looking scared. "You won't send me back to them, will you?" she whispered. I knelt beside her wheelchair and held her hand. "Of course not. I'll protect you. No one will ever hurt you again." Over the next few days, we built a careful plan. During the day, I gathered and backed up evidence, photographing documents, copying files, and uploading them to a secure drive Lauren had created for us. I also helped Lily write down her entire story, a detailed personal statement for later. I discovered that there were cameras in Lily's room, the hallway, and several other areas, but some blind spots remained. Lauren helped me identify them. Those were the places where we discussed the most important things. We also studied child protection laws, inheritance rights, and guardianship rules. Everything the Aldridge family had done violated multiple state and federal laws. It wasn't just cruelty, it was organized crime. Each night, the family called to check in. I kept pretending everything was fine, that Lily was following her treatment and taking her medication on schedule. Meanwhile, Lily grew stronger by the day. Without the sedatives, she became more alert, lively, and cheerful. Her curiosity bloomed, and I finally saw who she really was: a smart, witty, and resilient child. But a question kept weighing on me: should I tell Michael? He was my husband, and I wanted to believe he wasn't part of it. but his blind loyalty to his family made me doubt. After 5 days, I decided to test it. I called Michael while Lily was napping. "Hey, how's Hawaii?" I asked, trying to sound calm. "It's great," he replied. "Dad finished early, so we've been at the beach. How's Lily?" I took a deep breath. "Actually, I've noticed some things that seem strange. Her treatment feels excessive, and I found documents about her trust fund that worry me." There was silence on the line for a few seconds. Then Michael's voice turned cold. "Tara, you don't understand Lily's condition. Her medication is necessary, and the financial close stuff has nothing to do with you. Amanda knows what's best for her daughter. Stay out of things that aren't your business. You're treading on dangerous ground." His icy tone made my chest tighten. Whether he was involved or just looking the other way, I couldn't count on him. "You're right," I said softly, pretending to back down. "Sorry, I just wanted what's best for her." After hanging up, I sat still, letting my anger and determination rise. It was just me now, me and Lily against an entire powerful family. The following week, I tried to give Lily a taste of the childhood she'd been denied. We baked cookies, played board games, and watched cartoons instead of the dull programs they used to force on her. I taught her to play cards, and she learned unbelievably fast. "I've never played with anyone before," Lily said quietly during one game. "They only let me sit in front of the TV." I also taught her basic self-defense skills and how to respond if police or social workers ever questioned her. "Remember, you've done nothing wrong," I told her over and over. "The adults failed to protect you. None of this is your fault." Lauren helped us prepare for the family's return. We made multiple copies of all evidence and hid them in different places, one set with Lauren. We even created a secret code word Lily could use if she was ever in danger, and I gave her a small phone hidden in her room, preloaded with emergency contacts. The night before their return, we finished everything. The evidence was complete: real medical records, forged ones, the manipulated trust fund documents, the internal emails, and most importantly Lily's statement. As we sat in the kitchen eating ice cream, something Lily had never been allowed to have, she asked softly, "What if they don't believe us? What if they make me pretend again?" I held her hand. "That won't happen. Too many people know the truth now. You have people on your side now." I didn't say what I feared, that the Aldridges' money and power could still bury justice, but I swore I'd fight to the end. "Tomorrow will be tough," I said gently, "but remember, you've been brave for so many years already. Just a little longer, and you'll be free." Lily wrapped her arms around my neck and whispered, "Thank you for believing me." I hugged her tightly, tears streaming down my face thinking about all the years she'd lived without the love she deserved. "Get some sleep, Lily. Tomorrow's an important day." But I didn't know that tomorrow would come much sooner. Around 3 a.m., I jolted awake at the sound of the front door opening and voices in the foyer. The family wasn't supposed to be back until the afternoon, but there they were, in the middle of the night. I ran to Lily's room. She was already awake, eyes wide with terror. "They came back early," Lily whispered, trembling. "Sometimes they do that, to check if I've behaved." I quickly guided her back to her main bedroom, the one with the monitoring devices. "Remember our plan?" I whispered. "No matter what happens, I won't let them hurt you." Just as I laid her down, Amanda appeared at the doorway, still in her travel clothes. "What are you doing here?" she demanded sharply. "I heard noise and came to check on Lily," I said quickly. "We came back early. My father's business wrapped up ahead of schedule," she replied, studying me carefully. "Yes, everything's just as you instructed," I said lightly, forcing calm. Amanda brushed past me and approached the bed. I held my breath as she checked on Lily, terrified that one wrong move could ruin everything. Lily did perfectly, lying still, her face blank, just as she had for years. "Where's her medicine?" Amanda asked, her tone icy. "Everything's according to your instructions," I said steadily. "There's firewood in the kitchen if you'd like to light the fireplace." Amanda seemed satisfied for now and went downstairs to join the others. I squeezed Lily's hand to reassure her before following. In the living room, the entire Aldridge family was gathered, even though it was the middle of the night. Robert and Eleanor sat regally on the couch like royalty, James paced near the fireplace, and Michael stood by the door, avoiding my gaze. Tara, Robert said coldly. I trust everything went smoothly while we were away. Yes, I answered briefly, waiting to see their next move. Eleanor's eyes were sharp and calculating. Amanda, curious, had checked the medication bottles before resting. It looks like a few doses are missing, she said suspiciously. My heart raced, but I kept my composure. I followed your instructions exactly, I said firmly. Maybe you miscounted before you left. Eleanor's tone made it clear she didn't believe me. The room fell into a heavy silence until footsteps echoed on the stairs. Everyone turned their heads. And there, in the doorway, stood Lily upright, alert, neatly dressed. Hello, Mom, she said clearly. Hello, Grandpa. Hello, Grandma. I feel better now. The room erupted into chaos. Amanda screamed and rushed toward her daughter. James swore under his breath. Eleanor clutched her chest like a stage actress. Robert's face turned red with rage as he glared at me. What have you done to her? I stepped forward, placing myself between him and Lily. I just stopped poisoning an innocent child. Amanda grabbed her daughter's arm tightly. She needs her medication now. She's having an episode. No. Lily shouted, jerking her arm away, leaving everyone frozen in shock. I won't take it anymore. I know everything. I know about the money. The room fell into absolute silence. Amanda tried to regain her composure, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. Tara, my daughter has a serious neurological condition. She's delusional. She needs treatment. She's not sick, and she's not delusional, I said firmly. She's been forced to pretend because you threatened and abused her. I know everything, the money, the drugs, the surveillance, all of it. Robert Aldridge stepped closer, tall and intimidating. You have no idea what you're talking about. This is a private family matter that you've completely misunderstood. I didn't misunderstand anything, I said steadily. I've seen the documents, the emails, the videos. I saw Lily before her grandparents died perfectly healthy. And they left her millions of dollars. Eleanor's tone shifted soft and eerily gentle. Tara, dear, you must be under so much stress caring for a special child. You're confused. Why don't you go home with Michael and rest? We'll take care of Lily. Michael finally spoke, his voice hesitant. Tara. Maybe Mom's right. This might be too much for you. Let's go home and talk about it later. There's nothing to talk about, Michael, I said, looking straight at him. Your family has abused Lily for years, and I won't let it continue. Amanda screamed then, her face twisted in fury. You witch. You went through my private things. You had no right. She shouted, pulling a pill bottle from her bag and lunging toward Lily. You're going to take your medicine right now. I threw myself in front of Lily. You're not touching her. Robert grabbed my arm and squeezed hard. You're obstructing medical treatment for a minor. I'll call the police. Go ahead, I said coldly. I'm sure they'll want to see the evidence I've collected. James let out a mocking laugh. Evidence? Who do you think you are? We're the Aldridges. You're nobody. I have copies of documents showing you manipulated Lily's trust, I said slowly. I have fake medical records, emails discussing how to have her declared incompetent at 18 so you could steal everything. And most importantly, I have Lily, a healthy 8-year-old who can tell the police exactly what you've done. Amanda's face froze, her eyes full of hatred. No one will believe her. She's been diagnosed with severe neurological impairment since she was 3. By the doctor your father bribed, right? I shot back. The truth is going to come out. Robert stepped even closer, his voice low and threatening. You have no idea who you're dealing with. I can destroy you. Your career, your reputation, everything. One phone call, and you'll never teach again. That was when Michael finally began to realize what was happening. Dad? What are you saying? What's going on here? Before Robert could answer, Amanda lunged at Lily again, this time grabbing her arm and trying to shove a pill into her mouth. Take it, she screamed. Take it or you'll regret it. Lily struggled and cried out in pain. No. Let me go. Something inside me snapped. I shoved Amanda hard. She fell backward into the table. You will never touch her again. I shouted. Robert charged at me in anger. That's assault. James, call the police. She's going to jail. I wouldn't do that if I were you, I said, pulling out my phone. Because I already called the police and Child Protective Services. While they argued downstairs, I stepped into the pantry's blind spot and called Lauren. She looped in the police and Child Protective Services for an immediate welfare check. The room went still as stone. Robert froze, his voice shaking. You're lying. No, I said, holding up my phone, showing the call log. My friend, Lauren Bishop, you might recognize the name. She's one of the best family law attorneys in the state, and she has all the evidence. The calm facade on Eleanor's face began to crack. Maybe we should talk privately, Robert said, his voice trembling. But before he could say more, the doorbell rang, its sound slicing through the heavy silence. James looked out the window and cursed. It's the police. Robert's face went pale. No one says a word, he ordered. I'll handle this. But when he opened the door, it wasn't just the police. Lauren was there with 2 officers and a social worker I recognized immediately. Lauren looked at me, gave a small nod, then turned to Robert. Mr. Aldridge, she said calmly but firmly, I'm attorney Lauren Bishop. I believe you've been expecting me. Robert tried to keep his composure. There must be some misunderstanding. This woman is interfering with my granddaughter's medical treatment. The child is severely disabled and needs urgent care. Lauren didn't flinch. That's not accurate, Mr. Aldridge. We have sufficient evidence that Lily has been the victim of prolonged medical abuse and financial exploitation. The police asked to speak with Lily, Robert protested, but they insisted. I looked at Michael, his expression shifted from confusion to shock, then horror, as if he finally saw the truth. I met his eyes, silently pleading, stand with her. The decisive moment came when Amanda, desperate as her plan collapsed, tried one last time. Lily has a severe developmental disorder, she told the social worker. She's delusional and making up stories. She needs her medicine now. The woman held out her hand. Let me see the medication. Amanda handed her the bottle. The social worker read the label carefully, then looked up. This is a powerful sedative, Mrs. Aldridge. No doctor would prescribe this to a child unless under extraordinary circumstances. This is extraordinary. Amanda screamed. Then you won't mind if an independent physician examines her. The social worker replied calmly. Amanda's face went pale. No one's taking her. She's my daughter. The daughter you've poisoned and abused for 5 years, isn't that right? I interjected. Shut up. Amanda shouted, lunging at me, but the police stepped in, restraining her. In the chaos, Michael finally stepped forward. He knelt before Lily, who was trembling but still standing tall. Lily, he said softly. You can tell me the truth. Did my family hurt you? Lily looked at me, then at him. Her eyes were full of fear but also determination. They made me take medicine that made me sick, Lily said clearly. They said if I talked or moved when strangers were around, they'd send me far away forever. They want the money my grandparents left me. Michael's face tightened in pain. He turned to his family, faces filled with anger and panic. Is that true? He asked. You hurt a child for money? Robert tried to keep his composure. Son, they're manipulating you. Your wife has filled your head with lies. Enough. Michael stared straight at him. I want the truth. Eleanor stepped in, her tone dripping with fake sweetness. Michael, dear, you know Lily really is sick. We've all sacrificed so much to care for her. Then you won't object, Michael replied, if independent doctors examine her. The air in the room grew suffocatingly tense. Lauren stepped forward, holding a folder in her hands. I have copies of all the evidence Tara collected, bank statements, emails, medical records, enough to file criminal charges, she said, locking eyes with Amanda. Including your emails, where you discussed having Lily declared legally incompetent at 18 to seize her inheritance. Amanda's face went pale. Those emails are private. No, Lauren said coolly. They're evidence of conspiracy and abuse. Robert, always quick to adapt, changed tactics. He turned to the officers, speaking softly. Perhaps we could discuss this privately. I'm sure we can find a solution that benefits everyone. It was a clear attempt at a bribe. The officer's expression hardened. "Mr. Aldridge, are you attempting to interfere with an active investigation?" Robert flinched and stepped back. "Of course not. I simply think this matter should be handled privately within the family." "Child abuse isn't a private family matter," the officer replied coldly. "It's a crime." What happened next silenced everyone. Backed into a corner, Amanda completely broke down. "It was my father's idea," she screamed, pointing at Robert. "He said Lily's inheritance could save the company from going bankrupt. We needed the money. He told me no one would suspect anything if Lily was seen as a special needs child." "Shut up, Amanda," Robert roared, but it was too late. "He planned everything," she sobbed. "The doctors, the drugs, all of it. I just did what he said. He told me it was only temporary, until business got better. But it kept going, and I didn't know how to stop." The officers exchanged glances. Amanda had just confessed to child abuse and fraud, right in front of multiple witnesses. Eleanor, as always, tried to salvage the family's image. "This is all just a terrible misunderstanding," she said. "Misunderstanding?" I snapped. "You call it a misunderstanding when you drug a child into silence and steal her inheritance." I couldn't hold back anymore. The next few hours felt like a dream. Lily was taken to the hospital with child protection officers, and I refused to leave her side. Michael came too shocked, but finally on the right side. Robert and Amanda were escorted by police for questioning. Eleanor and James were ordered not to leave the city while the investigation continued. The perfect Aldridge family facade collapsed overnight. At the hospital, doctors confirmed what we had all suspected. Lily was perfectly healthy both physically and mentally. Only slight developmental delays remained, caused by years of isolation and overmedication. There were no signs of any congenital illness. While Lily underwent testing, Michael and I sat in the waiting room in silence. "I didn't know," he finally whispered. "I swear, Tara. I didn't know what they were doing." I answered calmly, "There were signs, Michael. You just chose not to see them." He lowered his head, finally facing the truth. "What do we do now?" "Now," I said, "we make sure Lily is safe and gets justice. Nothing else matters." Michael took my hand. I hesitated, then squeezed back. We had a long way to heal, but at least now we were on the same side. That evening, as Lily slept safely in her hospital bed, Lauren came by with updates. "Amanda's confession makes it hard for Robert to escape," she said. "He's trying to blame her, but the evidence clearly shows his involvement. Both will face serious charges: child abuse, fraud, and exploitation of a minor's assets. Eleanor and James may also face prosecution depending on their roles." I looked at Lily, thinking only one thing. What will happen to her? "The judge will appoint a guardian to protect her interests," Lauren explained. "They'll usually look for family, but clearly, Amanda and the Aldridges aren't fit." Michael turned to me and said quietly, "If Lily agrees, we could take care of her." It wasn't an easy decision. Michael was still reeling from the betrayal, and our marriage was deeply wounded. But it was the first step toward putting Lily first. "The most important thing," Lauren said, "is that she's safe now. Tara, you saved her." I looked through the doorway at Lily, sleeping peacefully, a small but fierce child who had taught me what real courage looked like. We had won the first battle, but the fight for Lily's future was only beginning. 3 months later, I sat in a bright courtroom as the judge officially declared that Michael and I would serve as Lily's temporary guardians. The past 3 months had been filled with endless paperwork, therapy, and adjustments to our new life. Robert and Amanda were charged with child abuse, fraud, and financial exploitation. Robert faced an additional charge for attempting to bribe the police. Amanda agreed to cooperate with investigators for a reduced sentence, but she still faced years in prison. Eleanor avoided criminal charges due to lack of direct evidence but was sued civilly for mismanaging her granddaughter's assets. Her social reputation, the thing she valued most, was ruined. The charities she worked with demanded her resignation. James denied all involvement, but his career was over. His law firm suspended him while the Bar Association investigated. As for Michael and me, we began marriage counseling. He hadn't believed me at first, and that had left a deep scar. But when he chose to stand with Lily, I knew there was still hope. Michael cut all financial ties with his family and started his own consulting firm. He wanted to prove he could stand on his own without the Aldridge money or power. And Lily, she was the most miraculous change of all. No more drugs, no more fear. She bloomed like a flower reaching for sunlight after a storm. Her health improved quickly. Though she had to relearn many skills after years of confinement, her intelligence and curiosity helped her progress fast. The judge appointed an independent financial manager to oversee Lily's trust under strict regulations. The funds would cover her education and care until adulthood. And when she turned 25, she'd receive the rest of her inheritance. Lily also began therapy to heal emotionally. Some nights, she still woke up from nightmares afraid her mother or grandfather would return to punish her for telling the truth. I would sit beside her, hold her, and whisper, "You're safe now. No one will ever hurt you again." We enrolled Lily in a small private school with programs for children recovering from trauma. At first, she was shy, but slowly, she made friends and joined activities like any other child. Her first sleepover was a milestone. We ate ice cream and watched movies all night. The day the court signed the official guardianship order, Lily held my hand tightly, her eyes shining with hope. "So it's official now, right?" "Yes, it's official," I smiled. "You're going to live with us." When we stepped out of the courthouse, Lauren was waiting with a bright smile. "Congratulations," she said. "The hardest part is over." "Do you think it's really over?" I asked, thinking of the long years of healing ahead. "The worst is over," she replied. "Tara, you gave Lily a future. Not everyone is brave enough to do what you did." Later, Lauren and I founded a support fund for children to help uncover and rescue victims of medical abuse and financial exploitation. Though newly established, we had already connected with dozens of families across the country with stories like Lily's. That night, we celebrated with a small party in our new home, a cozy, peaceful house far from all the painful memories of the Aldridge mansion. Michael grilled hamburgers in the yard while Lily played in the garden with two of her friends. Her laughter floated through the breeze, a sound I once thought I'd never hear again. Watching Lily run freely, I thought about how close she'd come to losing her entire childhood if she hadn't found the courage to tell me the truth that night in the kitchen. The next morning was Lily's first day at her new school. I had returned to teaching, and though we had considered several options, Lily begged to attend the same school where I worked. "Are you ready?" I asked, helping her with her backpack. She nodded, nervous, but excited. "Do you think the other kids will like me?" "Of course they will," I said. "Just be yourself, everyone will love you." As we walked hand in hand through the school gates, I thought about everything we had been through, how two strangers became a family bound by courage and truth. From victims, Lily and I had become strong, hopeful survivors. All because of the power of truth and the courage to protect it. That night, after Lily fell asleep, Michael and I sat on the porch swing, looking up at the quiet sky. She asked me. Michael said softly, his voice emotional, if she could call us Mom and Dad. "What did you say?" I told her she can call us whatever makes her feel safe. Because family isn't just about blood, it's about heart. I rested my head on his shoulder, feeling a peace I thought I'd lost forever. "Everything's going to be okay, right?" I asked. "Not just okay," he said with a gentle smile. "It's going to be better than that. We'll be the family Lily deserves." We knew the road ahead would still be challenging: court hearings, therapy sessions, painful memories. But watching Lily grow stronger and brighter each day, we knew every sacrifice had been worth it. Some wounds in life don't leave scars on the skin, they live deep in the memories of children who were once denied the right to simply exist. But I believe miracles always begin with courage, with the strength to stand up, to say no, and to believe that the truth will be heard. I didn't just help Lily escape the darkness of lies, I learned the most important lesson of all: true love can heal. Because sometimes, family isn't where you're born, it's where someone chooses to protect you, even without shared blood. Doing what's right is never easy. But if we don't begin, evil never ends. The kindness of one ordinary person can be the spark that starts something extraordinary. And what about you? If you were in my place, would you have the courage to stand up against an entire powerful family to protect a child who is almost a stranger? Share your thoughts below, I truly want to hear your answer from the heart. And if you'd like to keep joining me for more stories of courage, justice, and love, follow the channel so together we can keep telling stories about people, about faith, and about hope.